I think we're live. Yes,
Yep.
it says we are live. What?
Woohoo.
All right. Exciting times.
It is.
So I'm bringing up the questions, making sure we've got all the things ready. And greetings to everyone watching us in the other side of the nether. It's exciting to have a first live on this channel. I'm excited. I think I'm going to try and do like one a week-ish.
Yeah, it's a
good.
good goal.
Yeah.
It is a good goal.
I don't know if it'll work out. I'm thinking there may be some gaps while I get it rolling, but yeah, should be pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So tonight, the official plan is we are going to talk about compost.
Yes.
All the decomposing biological matter.
Yay.
Yee. So what I plan to do is I'm going to ask questions. I will be in the chat saying hi to everyone. So if you are in the chat, know that you'll be greeted while people are answering questions. We'll be typing greetings to you. And then at the end, we will ask for questions. And yeah. Hello, Mark. Ooh, Mark is here from 7 minutes. Exciting stuff.
I think he said 7 kin.
Oh, 7 kin. That would make more sense.
Hey, Mark, how you doing?
Autocorrect being autocorrecty.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Welcome to the amazing chat of awesomeness. Hey, Glamour Planner. So I thought I would start by giving you a chance to meet these amazing people we have on panel, starting with Maureen, Diva in the Dirt.
Yay!
Can you tell us about you and your channel?
Do you want the long version or you want the short version? You know, like how much time do I have?
Not 10 minutes.
Okay, well then.
Clarified that. Yeah, I'm glad you clarified that because I can just go on and on. So.
Yes,
Yeah,
you and me both.
Figure out a surreptitious way to like get that little hook that you pull people off stage with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, no, most of the time you kind of downside. You kind of give the brief. So I am. So I'm an international jazz and blues singer, and 2020. Adjusted my life where I wasn't able to perform anymore. And so then what I ended up doing was started doing a little bit of planting and redecorating of my yard. And with that, I got chickens and I just became I learned in these last 4 years how to become a backyard urban farmer. And with that, I was, well, not with that, but it's like I was not a green thumb. I was nothing to do. I like to look at gardens and I like to eat from them, but I was not interested in doing any of the work. And I just, kind of fell in love with all of the whole process and moved myself from being a diva in the stage to a diva in the dirt.
With cool t-shirts.
With cool t-shirts. And with that, I guess, I'm just kind of blathering on, but why I have a YouTube channel was partially because I wanted to show my mom what I was making and growing. Aww. And my mom is an avid gardener, and so this gave me a chance to show her. And then in the long term is also because there's people that are like me that go, don't want anything to do with bugs, dirt, everything like that. But and it's like, or they go, I have no idea how. And so I've got more of a vlog style. So I'm just kind of telling you what I'm doing in my life. I'm not going, here is the 7 steps that you need to do to fix their do. I'm just going to go and try to do and make it work. And if it works, great. If it doesn't, you quit and whatever. So that's where I'm at now. I am a little bit back to performing, kind of sticking to if it pays well, I'll do the gig. But if it doesn't pay well, I'm not interested in doing the gig. Mm-hmm. So those
kind of takes you to Mexico on a cruise. You're gonna do it.
I'll do those ones.
There's lots of kinds of pay.
Exactly. And so, so it is just me focusing in on, the long story is to get partnership because, I don't have an actual job. I was a voice teacher as well. I haven't gone back to that. I go back to doing master classes and things like that and the odd private gig, but it's like I need to actually have a regular income and learn how to balance so I can keep my house. That's my story in a nutshell.
And on your little Diva Wonderland, you have chickens and veggies and all the things, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I do. I make sourdough bread. We were making cheese, but we stopped getting access to raw milk, so we don't do that anymore. But we do the pressure canning, and it is just that kind of homestead life. Like it was a thing I wanted to do. I used to homeschool my children when they were little, and I always wanted this kind of homesteaded life. But I didn't want the dirty work of it, and now it's like I absolutely love the dirty and the getting out in the garden and growing. And last year I grew 1,500 pounds of food on my less than a quarter acre property here, which yeah, it's I'm like I was even amazed at being able to grow that much. But yeah, so I it's like all things homesteading is basically urban homesteading is what I do on my channel.
And cooking.
And yes, yeah. So yeah, we do a lot of canning and preserving. Some things we grow, some things we purchase and whatever. And but yeah, and the other goal is to one day buy property so that I can do this on a larger scale. So
I just realized that I have the power to put the comments up.
So I'll pause there. I'll pause.
Yeah. Cece paused you.
Yeah. Oh, and just one interruption there, Janet. So I think with the StreamYard, I think you're using the free one, so I actually can't use there is no extra paperclip for me for this one to stream it out. So unfortunately, so I just thought I'll let you know that. But yeah, but it's brought over my mama and whatnot. So
okay. Well, I mean, it's a little disappointing, but
it is what it is. It's all good, darling.
Mm-hmm. All right. So Jason and Cari, the 7 Kin Homestead. Can you tell us about you and how you became the 7 Kin Homestead and what your channel is about?
Well, it was a dark and stormy night. So I'm Jason. This is Cari. We're 7 Kin Homestead. The 7 Kin basically comes from there's the 2 of us and then the 5 kids, 3 of whom were born during this whole adventure, and so that's where the 7 Kin thing comes from. We were basically your standard flatlander city people for most of our lives. Cari spent a lot of time outside as a child. I never really did well with sunshine. So, I was inside a lot. Didn't have a lot of friends. No. Yeah. Aw. So one day, we kind of just looked at our life and we're like, this sucks. This is not what I want to do with life. I don't want to work all the time, constantly, to never get ahead and always have negative $30 in our account. Like
right?
It was ridiculous. We lived in Southern California, super expensive. We were paying nearly $3,000 a month for rent. And so we were not getting ahead. And that was like not in a good area. It was a small, tiny little condo, excuse me. So we had this bright idea of let's move back to Las Vegas because we'd lived there for about a year. And the housing market had not recovered there, so we could get a nice little house for pretty cheap. And as Cari was looking for houses, not that we would have been able to do that at the time,
Right.
I make it sound like the cards were in our favor if they weren't. So
we're just like, we have to do something.
We have to do something different.
Look on and see whatever.
Yeah. So she's on a website and she's like on Zillow or something looking at houses in Las Vegas, and an ad pops up for this company called Billy Land. and they did owner financed, low down payment, low payment, no credit checks, no nothing. And she's like, do you think we could do this? And I had to do some quick husband math. I was like, okay, so you're way cooler than me. You're super, like, way better of a person. And you're like, people can't even hardly tell that we're in the same species. You're so much better looking than me. So yeah, we can do that. And she figured, we could use our youth and build out never even heard of the word homestead before. We were just going to go live in the woods. And so then we had to have a yard sale to come up with the $300 down on our property. And because we had negative $27 in the account at that time. Big money. And so we did that, and we made just about $300. Or just over $300. And that was enough to go and buy a, one of those preloaded debit cards, put it down on the property. We decided that we were just going to sell everything and go. And so we gave notice to our landlord, and we had yard sales and sold everything we could on Craigslist and just got rid of everything. Got a little 22-foot camper, and then 34 days after we put the money down on the property, we arrived here. And it has been quite the adventure, considering that I had none of the skills that I had promised my lovely and talented wife that I had that would help us to survive out here. And so it's been
in 2012.
That was in 2012. So
and how old were your kids when you moved out there?
Our oldest was 2.5, and our second daughter was 6 months old. So we're just like, people must have thought we were nuts, because we're
I could see it on their faces when we told them. They're just like,
you're going to move to the middle of the woods.
I'm like, no. I've done a lot of research.
Yeah. We've seen satellite images.
Perfect location.
Yeah.
But
so then we've just basically we've made every possible mistake that you could possibly make. And so we started making videos to try and save people. Initially, it was to save people some time and be like, I know you're going to want to do this. Don't, because it's a mistake, right? And that was kind of like the initial idea. And then it dawned on me in October that we needed to start making videos that, instead of telling people what they shouldn't do, show people how to accomplish it. And
and not in like a projecty step-by-step how-to, but like mindset and life.
Almost philosophically, right?
Yeah.
And so we did that, and we initially did that over on the Clock app. We'd been struggling on YouTube for 10 years, we did that on the Clock app, and like the third or fourth video that we posted went viral. And then the next one, and then the next one. And in October we had 400 followers on the old Clock app. And now we, a couple days ago, just passed 600,000.
Amazing.
Which is pretty crazy. Awesome. It really just lends itself to the fact that people want to know how to do this. And I think it's something that people are going to need to know how to do in the future.
Yes.
Things ain't looking so hot,
No.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So on your channel, we kind of see a variety of different things. You do a lot of projects using scrap materials to do all kinds of amazing things, make tile backdrops like and brick ovens and all kinds of cool, crazy stuff.
Yeah, and we try and do everything for as close to free as possible. Yeah. And then show people they can have really nice stuff, even if you don't have a lot of money.
Yeah, we need a tutorial on how you did the tile thing. That's cool. That's really cool.
That was all her.
Thank you. I did it. Yep. I did it. He showed me.
Oh, wow.
Like, you got to show me how to basically get it on there, and then I can run with it. And then So I did all of it. It was really fun.
And I'd go out there and I'd like
grout it and
bite my tongue and not say anything. And because you know how men are, they're just like, well, you know, if you want to do it like this, it'd probably fit better like that. And I just was like, nope, I'm not going to say anything, and I want to see what she comes up with, and it's way better than I would have come up with.
Thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you for making me like not look back on it and be like, I knew I should have mansplained that to her.
Actually, was in the middle of making.
I feel like that's how Cari kills you in your sleep.
Yeah, right. That's exactly right. I would hide all the sharp objects before.
Right. So on your little homestead, you got the dogs, the dog, the cats. Now you got the chickens and the duckies.
Yep.
Anything else? And the mint. It is the mint farm. You all know it has
we're going to end up with a mint forest by the time we're done.
I've been taking pictures. Like, is that mint? No.
Yeah.
Mint is so good for you. It's so good for you, Jason. It is one of the, heavy top, medicinal herbs you want to grow.
Look at this face. This is the face of mint trauma. Okay. So, I get it. I know there's studies, but
that's awesome. So I brought you all up here because when I think of compost, when I think of degrading,
when I think of garbage,
I'll take it as a compliment. It's good stuff.
No, you all have done really cool things with compost. Maureen, I know you are like the expert on compost tea, but I saw that you've tried some other different kinds lately too. And then Jason and Cari have the hot compost going on.
Yes, so I'm looking forward to that.
So Maureen, what all different kinds of composting have you done?
Well, I just do the typical, just the soil, in a compost setting. Let me just share screen here. Am I going to find it?
Planner.
Yeah, we're talking about poop.
Yep, when I think of poop, I think of you all.
That really hits me right here in the feelers.
So I'm going to bring that up. And then if you can just add that to the stage here. So I will show you what I have. And this is what I kind of always have done. So this is my tower one, and I'm hoping it'll come up. Oh, nope. I guess I'm not doing it right. I've never done it where I've shared from my. It's not giving me a place where it says share this screen. So I'm going to stop sharing that. And then I'm going to see if it'll let me. Whoops, not that. So I have a tower one, and no, it's not you, darling. It's
not
me. It's not you. It is
I've heard that before.
Totally me. There we go. I need to share you this window. So this is a tower one, and this one I really like. And I got, so if you can add that to the stage, yeah.
Hey, there we go.
So this,
cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
so this came from the city, like it's the Capital Regional District, like it's got their little logo on there. It's I've done videos on them. This one is I do like it because it is a sealed unit. Or here, I'll do it this way. It is a sealed unit. The only thing is you lift this little part off and you can get your soil out of it. This part here, you can see it's only been recent, the last couple of years that the rats have actually tried to get in there. But this is where I'll put in like food scraps and things like that would want to encourage wildlife. The only problem is that when I do try to lift this out, the whole thing falls over and then I have to just reset it. So I've just learned when I'm going to pull everything out of it. But this compost bin is an absolute little magic haven because it is so full of worms. Like I just did a video of I lift up this little thing and it is just like you right away you'll see 75 worms just I think if I sat quiet enough I would actually hear them.
Nice.
The chickens came running when you open it. They were
Yeah, I'm
like,
just
"Dinner!" Pecking out little
so
worms.
I don't know. See, it's not going to just let me bring up this other one. Like I guess I should have had them all open, and then I think I could have scrolled through. So let me just try that, because then I also have a roller one. Oh, ooh, I'm not sure what that is. And so I do like this. I don't, you don't have to do any turning of it. You don't have to because I can't. I'm not about to go and try to do a roller of it. I'm going to stop sharing that one, and then I'm just going to grab this other one. Oops,
I
nope, not
am
that.
greeting
Click
people while you're
this.
getting people up, so totally works. Bandit
Awesome.
with Arthur Butler. Hey,
Oh,
hey. Awesome to see you.
hey, hey,
And
Bam.
Miss T with the T is here.
Either one.
All right,
Very
you can throw
cool.
this one up. So this is a roller one, and one of the I just went and took a picture of this because I did want you to see my little pink buckets here underneath, because
Oh, the
Very
tea.
divish. The pink
with
bucket,
with
very divish.
yeah. So this is actually this here is just like super concentrated compost tea. So it's whatever's pouring through, and I will save that, like rather than just letting it pour all over the concrete. But this is the kind you roll. Again, like I will put stuffs in there because it animals can't get into it at all, kind of thing. Let me just see. Oh, there we go. So this is what I started with. Was my son made me these
Ooh,
pallet, so just pallet wood.
you
Again,
made a compost bin out of pallets?
yes.
Nice.
So it's free.
Hey,
Uh,
James. The neighbors are literally getting rid of, I think, 5 pallets that we were
yeah,
going to go grab as soon as it's dry. Huh?
yeah.
That's awesome.
So this is all in what I call my playground in the back. You can see like there's the bird netting up here. This is where my chickens hang out and they play in behind my studio. So this is a double one, and originally what we had it is like both of these will swing open once I remove the soil, and my plan was pull from one, put in the other, back and forth. But it's like I'm too old, and I'm too fragile and old to do that. So I just leave it alone. I don't bother flipping it. I just keep adding it. And these ones I put my green waste in. So you can see like this is from last year. Those girls get in there and scratch it all up and put their poop, and it just turns into absolutely amazing compost.
Oh,
So
that's
I've been,
cool.
yeah. So I do all these 3 different methods, just so that I have a place to put food down.
That makes
So,
sense.
but yeah, the pallet wood, this style, like when I have my farm, I'm planning to have 5 pallet bins all in a row. And what you would do is in between them, you have it where you have a board that you can pull up. And then what you're doing is to flip it, you're dragging in the next one. This was from Charles Dowding and the UK gardener. And so so you have about 5 of these going along. And once this one's, sat there for a month, then you'd lift up your board and then, do the next one. But I'm in a very close confined space, but that is my first thing is when I have my property, first thing I will build is pallet wood, 5 bin pallet wood compost bin. The
That's
end.
amazing. So, do you have a video on your channel that shows the process of how you built those?
No, I do not. It was when
I love you
it was.
anyway.
I forgive you.
I hadn't started filming and things like that when my son built these, but in all honesty, like yes, on this side here, this is a Jason or Cari, or well, any of you might know, a hinge. That's what it is. It's a hinge, and then on the other side I have a hook. But we just have little L brackets, nothing on the bottom. So an L bracket, here. L bracket. There's nothing to. You just make a box, and then we swung so that, like, if I dig all this soil out of the way, I can pull that open, and then I can pull all the compost out of it. Sometimes I just crawl into it and just take buckets full.
For warmth.
Yes, yeah. So no, and I leave these alone, and actually it's the girls that actually do the work of them, because they get in there and start scratching. No video. How do you know you built it?
Easy filled you out.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What do they say? If you didn't post it, it didn't happen. That's what they,
exactly.
That's what I get told all the time.
Yeah. So this was the first one he built, and where those other two were, it was like, this was all shrubbery back here. Like, it was just a bunch of shrubbery, and we just brought it down and built them. But yes, if I could have a third one, or so so
really
pretty
cool.
simple.
So Jason and Cari, what about you? I guess I can hold on a second. Let me. Oh shit!
Oh.
Sorry. There's Russian fire to count the times, I swear.
We just took a quick jump to PG-13 right there.
I mean, honestly, the only miracle is that didn't happen earlier.
I feel you.
Oh, okay.
So,
Sorry,
love, why don't you tell them what it is that we're doing, like the type of composting. I believe it's called the von Hofmann Lager system, Einstein system. It's very technical.
Yeah, so we're in the process of experimenting with a hot compost, and the thing that's it's a lot more precise than you can just throw all your stuff in and it's going to decompose, because it's what it's going to do over time. But one of the reasons we really wanted to go
sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to make you big and Maureen and I small, and it is just not working at all.
It's okay.
That's fine. But
It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, that we wanted to do the hot compost is because we're still going to be getting freezes until June. So I want to make
until June.
Yeah.
So you'll have nice weather, and it got down to 23 last week. So now, for starts, that does not bode well. So we were like, well, I did some research and got different ideas from all these different places, and thought, well, why not try using a hot compost to heat the greenhouse? So that's the main thing. And Jason built an awesome enclosure for it inside the greenhouse for us to get it going. And we needed to clean out the chicken coop, so that was a big bulk of material. And then we had everything else that we were just throwing in to the cold compost for about a year. So between those things added in, that was kind of our having enough material, because that's one of the things with hot compost is it's got to be at least 3 by 3 feet,
like a cubic yard, basically.
Yeah, to get it heating and going.
We have a couple pictures. Let me see if I can make this happen. That way you can point out what everything is.
Yeah, let's see.
Awesome.
I think I know how to do this. Hold on.
You want to go down. You want to go down to present.
Yeah.
Present, Jason. Okay.
Uh-huh.
All right. And then you want to share screen.
Okay. Just
And
make
then
sure there's nothing up that shouldn't be.
What's on your screen? This is not the Saturday live at a swoop like me. This is PG at least.
Here, while you show these off and your lovely build, I'm gonna help my daughter strain some pasta. Be right back. She needs an extra set of hands.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. When you're making
treat the birds.
when you're making pasta for 7, it's like, bring out the cauldron strainer.
Yeah. Right. What your dad's never taught you about a lever?
I feel like that's the story of third degree burns.
Yeah.
They told me to use a lever. I used it.
Well, Well, obviously you used it wrong. Okay, so I don't know if I'm sharing. It doesn't show. Okay, it doesn't show. There it is. There it is. I see it. Okay, if you notice here, it looks like a pallet, but it's actually not. This is made out of 2x6s and 2x4s, and then they're hit with a kind of a natural oil on the inside of them, just to keep them from decomposing. And let me see if I can change to a different picture here.
While you're switching pictures, Gail would like to know what region you are from.
We're in the Pacific Northwest, up in the mountains. We're about 3,700 feet is about our altitude.
Very
So,
from mine.
okay.
Right, and I'm on Vancouver Island up in Canada, so I am in the Pacific Northwest as well. We're in the same time zone.
Yeah. So so with this setup, it's the inside of it. I don't know if you can really see it, but this entire cavity between the
1 second. I tried to make it you guys so we could see the thing better.
So what you want to do, Janet, is click on the actual picture. Oh, look at that. That's even better, Jason.
Oh.
But you want to click on the actual picture, and that will bring it up. Yeah, just in the little. I'm meaning Janet needs to do that so that she can just have it. Yes, there you go.
Yeah, look at that. Look at that.
Yippee, look at it. Look at that. Me learning StreamYard.
So basically the way this works is if you notice it's all full of rocks. There's about a foot cavity that's built between where the compost goes and the wood, and it's full of big lava rocks. And what the concept was, let's see if I can change to this. Maybe I have to close that. Is that what I have to do?
Maureen's your expert.
I think so.
I don't know how you did it to know how to
I'm new
do
to it, so you just unshare it, and then you'll have to give us a new photo.
Okay, I can do that.
Yep. Yeah, I've never done it before. Once I did get it where all three were going at the same time, or like all four pictures were showing up there at the same time. Then I could scroll through. But
gotcha.
Still not a master on it yet.
Also wanted to shout out to Buddha, to Gail, going back through and seeing who all has come in that we have not greeted verbally. Let's see. I feel like I missed somebody twice. Trending Live TV, hey, and Destined by Faith. I have to apologize, Destined by Faith. I did not see you come in. So thanks for joining the fun.
Yeah, and so you can see the rocks in here, and you can see the hardware cloth on this side over here. And so it's hardware cloth all the way around the inside, and then rocks all the way around it. And what is happening there is that as the compost breaks down, it creates heat. That heat is transferred into the rocks, and then overnight, because of physics, the heat will get basically sucked out of the rocks and be released into the greenhouse. And when you, let me see if I have another one more picture that shows it more from the front.
It's brilliant, Jason.
It's actually working really well. Cari will tell you how it all works here in just a moment.
Yep, she is the scientist behind this one.
Oh yeah, the mad scientist.
If you're not mad, is it really science?
Yeah, exactly. That's how I look at it. And
wow.
So it's got this this hardware cloth thing that I put these four. I made I had this little frame. I think it was from an old rabbit hutch.
It was.
And had this frame, had the hardware cloth on it. So I put four little hooks right here. And so it's really easy to just take off and put back on, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we took some septic drain line, some leach line, and put it in the back so that air could flow to the back. It doesn't require as much turning. Because it has the ability to to get airflow, because there's basically two kinds of decomposition. One is aerobic and one's anaerobic, right? And so aerobic, this is an aerobic form of decomposition because there's air involved in it. Aerobic, right? Yeah, or in the presence of oxygen, I think is the actual technical definition. That's why, like when you do calisthenics or aerobics, you breathe heavy. So anyway, so this is
that does track.
Yeah, I know. Well, as you can tell, just from looking at me, I'm really into
aerobics.
I really do a lot of working out. I try to maintain my lovely potato shape. And so anyway, how has this thing worked so far?
Well, it was interesting because when we got everything in there, that was like day 1, I think, about there.
Yeah.
It was pushing out a lot. Like I could feel the heat radiating off of it. And we had one of those laser thermometer guns or whatever. And I think it was like around 80 degrees that it was pushing off. Yeah.
And it was like 30 some odd degrees outside.
Yeah. So it was pretty awesome. And within probably about a week, it just dropped off. So I was like, I need to get a thermometer. So I get a thermometer and stick it in there. And I'm like, oh, it's like 100 degrees. And you want a hot compost to be...
But not that hot.
Right. You want it to be around 120 degrees on the interior to, 140 is really good. And like that's great, for heating the greenhouse, but you're also accelerating the decomposition, which is how that heat is being generated, is from all those little microorganisms breaking everything down so quickly. And so when it stopped heating up, I'm doing all this research, and I forgot who I came across. He does all kinds of gardening stuff in his yard, but he was saying, here's a way to get your hot compost like to a jump start. And it was by layering it. So then we made a compost lasagna. And we did a layer of hay. Yeah, we took everything out and did a layer of hay and then put compost back in and watered in between each layer.
Right.
So just enough, not so it's like soaking. And then 2 days later, we were at 125. And I was like,
wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. And our greenhouse was staying 10 degrees warmer than it was outside in the evenings.
Fantastic.
Like, I got thermometers so I could see what it was outside and inside, and have a very not just, it feels warmer.
She was making charts.
I'm like, I need to know exactly. I need the data. Like, I love researching and having hard facts to go, which none of the composting has those, just do this and this and this is going to happen.
No.
But temperature, I'm golden there. So, so it definitely kept things going. So
this is why our projects actually work out. As an aside, excuse me, is because we're so opposite, because she wants like hard facts and everything, and I do basically everything like an Italian grandmother cooks, right? It's like, does it feel good, right? Like, how does it feel, right?
Yeah.
I like gaining as much knowledge and information as I can glean from anyone who's put something out there on it. So I really can understand something, and then I go, now I can start.
Yeah.
Right.
Whereas I just make a lot of mistakes.
Right.
Like, what happened? But
so Glamour Planner said, Jason, Cari, and Maureen, what do you use to make the compost? Is it a combination of things? Because I want to know what's best. I'm trying to keep from buying inorganic material. I make mine. So what are you putting into your compost?
So we started mostly with our chicken manure, which also was mixed with straw for their bedding.
Yep.
So that was a large bulk of it. And then there was a bunch of stuff from last year's garden that was in the compost. All the, bigger stuff, corn stalks, tomatoes, all that kind of stuff. And then our kitchen scraps. So, there's banana peels and potatoes and eggshells and even coffee grounds. And that I've read and heard is also really good, especially for a hot compost. But
gets me going.
Yeah.
Why not?
You're a hot compost.
I'm a hot compost.
Yeah.
You're full of hot compost, Jason.
Yeah, but that's a good question.
Maybe.
So one of the.
Go ahead.
Oh, so one of the things for me, like as I kind of told you, it's like, so my ones that are contained, that's where I will put food. The ones that are open, that's where I put just all my tree clippings and grass clippings or anything from the yard. I will throw into those ones in particular. But one of the things, especially with my tower ones, where I saw the shift for me, because I had a friend who had beautiful compost. So in the tower one, what I do make sure is I do throw in a couple of spoonfuls of dirt. Like I'll just some random soil from wherever. The other thing is that if your, rule of thumb for me, if your compost smells stinky, it needs more carbon. Throw in some cardboard boxes.
I was just going to ask her to talk about green.
So as soon as you put in the cardboard boxes, it's like that was a game changer for me, where I lift up the box and it's just like crawling with worms. My compost bins are, and it's just like it's almost, at one point last year it was like, I think there's more worms than there actually is soil. It was just
nice.
It was So I don't have the technical side of the the carbon and the nitrogen. So Cari, why don't you talk about that?
Yeah, well, it depends on the type of composting, because there's the cold compost where, just like what you're doing, Maureen, where you've got those worms and you want them there because they're doing that turning largely for you. And like you said, if it's stinky, it's higher nitrogen levels than you want. And then your browns being your, things that are already dead, like your dried leaves or cardboard, like you were saying. So that was one of the things that we encountered very quickly on day one, bringing all that chicken manure as a big bulk of the material we were adding. And at first it didn't smell so bad, and we mixed everything in really nicely together. Day 2 and 3 and beyond, I was like, this is not getting any better. It's awful. I was like, and I know this, if it's smelling bad, it needs more browns. So as a part of that, like finding information, I was like, okay, we're going to layer it because it needs more carbon. It needs more browns.
Yeah.
So that was what the straw is in any compost. And I'll tell you what, it smells lovely in there now.
Just like soil.
It smells just like earth,
Yes.
But yeah, that's a big one. Also, by the way, hot compost, you cannot put worms in because that heat's gonna kill them.
Yeah.
It's FYI.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
And that actually brings me to the Glamour Planners question. Do you have to add worms, or do they find their way in there? I did not know the answer to this question last year and bought worms. Did I need to? I have absolutely no idea.
No, I've not put any worms into my where I live used to be a bog. Like it's this little kind of gully, and so in the wintertime, we have brown grass in the summer and green grass in the winter because of the rains and stuff. But my whole lawn is green, but if you walk across it, it's brown because all the worms that are in my lawn are putting these little poop piles up. They're I guess trying to prevent themselves. Preventing them from drowning. And so no, I've never put a worm in, never bought worms, never. And it's like, and my compost bins are just teeming with worms. So
yeah, it depends on where you're at and what your soil is. Yeah,
that's true. That's true.
Like where we're at, there's just nothing.
There are no earthworms anywhere.
Yeah. But you know what? But they're coming. They're coming with all that you guys are doing. you are going to eventually start having worms. You're going to bring, that
I'm
life
bringing them.
back. Yeah, life back into your soil or into the soil that is needed. Because that's just like when you watch the biggest little farm. That was like, I know you guys are like sand or lava rock or something like that where you live.
Basically those two things. Yep.
Yeah. But it's like, what you're bringing in, the compost you're making, when you start adding that in, that is going to change, and I predict that in a few years' time, we're going to see your little, 2 acres is going to look like an oasis compared to everything else around just by what you guys are doing.
Yeah, that's the plan. Yeah, it's really starting to green up now, and if you go like just driving down the road, it's like kind of a different environment here than anywhere else. So
yeah.
So, going back.
Yeah, thanks, Gardening Warrior. I just want to let you know I appreciate you.
Just, making Jason continually face his mint trauma again and again. That for our personal
exposure therapy.
Yep. Hey, at least this time it'll smell like lemon, right? Because it's lemon balm. So there'll be something different added to the mix.
There we go.
Yeah.
It's going to remind me of drinking orange juice and then brushing my teeth. That's what's going to.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
I really have it mocked up.
I'm never going to be able to not have that idea in my head now.
Yeah. Hey, welcome to my world.
Fair enough. So Maureen, you've got the 3 different types of compost that you've done. Yeah. Which one, if somebody could only do one, which one would you recommend as like your favorite?
That's a hard question because it's it's like, the ones that I have enclosed, I have those because I want to prevent the wildlife from coming and, getting into my compost and getting near my chickens. So I like those, but they're small and they're a bit more messy. I do love the pallet bin kind. It's just been fantastic, especially the ones where where my chickens get to go in there. But I know you mentioned it earlier. I also I love my poo-poo juice. Like that is a game changer for me.
Oh yeah, your 4th one. Yeah. I forgot about that. Your tea.
Yeah,
I need your wisdom on the compost tea. I'm going to be posting a video tomorrow of how it went when I tried to do the compost tea.
Mm-hmm. And I'll have to wait to see it tomorrow.
It was, it definitely, I see where the name came from of poo-poo juice.
It was
I did not love it. However, I can see where it would be really, really good for your soil. I just.
No, it does smell like poo. And if it's good to wear gloves, because if you do get it into your nails, there's not much that you can do to get it out. And I know Gardening Warrior has spilt like a 5-gallon bucket on herself. And you basically, at that point, you just should get into a bath of Dettol to try to get the stench off your skin.
Yeah, it took me a while to get it because, I'm always out in the garden in my little mismatched flip-flops. I got it on those, and that took long enough.
Yeah, see, in my case, I'd be looking for someone to give a hug.
I'll remember that.
He'd be looking for someone to go and give someone a hug. The only thing is that like with the compost tea, and I'm just throwing in whatever weeds and stuff that I have with some water in it. I have learned, wear my boots, wear my muck boots. I don't do it with gloves so much anymore as I used to when I was first starting. Now I'm pretty good at keeping it off of myself. But that stuff is a game changer because it's like you can have a plant that is that's yellowing or dying, and you go, I pour it on. Like there is methods where it's like you should, 1 part to 10 parts water, right? But I just go and pour it on concentrated and then just water it down. I saw exponential, like within the week, the plant had changed. There was like huge amounts of growth on it. So it's like when I smell that stink, it's just like, I know that that is just beautiful health. It's the right amount of nitrogen and carbon for your plants, and it snaps back things back in. And 3 years ago, when I know that Jess from Roots and Refuge, like she had bought in some organic soil, and it killed her entire greenhouse. There's people all over the world that were all going, "Hey, I just killed everything," and it was in the soil. The soil had the gray zone. I shouldn't say the word, but anyway, it had the stuff that that's from the spraying with pesticides. And as I researched on how can you regenerate this soil, one of the things, was by pouring in compost tea. To bring back those nutrients, and because it is so concentrated, and it does bring in that healing. So I am an avid poo-poo juicer.
Do you have a video on that?
I've got a short.
Okay.
I do have a short on.
I remember seeing that, actually.
Yeah.
Maureen, can you, if you happen to find the link to that, could you Facebook me that link, and I will put it in the comments below. Like when this is posted, I'll put it in the description box.
Oh, okay, sure.
And same to you, Jason and Cari. If you have any about your how you did your hot compost, that would be amazing. Or if you put one out later.
I don't think it's posted yet.
Yeah, we haven't. Yeah, we've gotten documenting, but we haven't put anything together yet.
Here, I'm just gonna do a shameless plug of my thing right here, and we can just put it up, and because it's like, I don't know, it's like 30 seconds long or something like that.
Oh, great.
Except for, do we have any sound on it? No, I don't. I don't know how to make the sound
narrate
work.
it to us.
Unmute screen there. No, I muted it. So I just get a Costco bin, like for $12 at Costco. I do tell you to wear gloves because it stinks. And so I just use an old popcorn container, and I pour it on direct onto the plant and feed them. And then because I am doing the concentrated, I make sure that I go. But I think what I'm telling you here, I can't read it. I talk way too fast. I don't know what's wrong with me. I should. But you see, so what I'm showing you is that the growth of just that watermelon it was like night and day, because it wasn't doing well in the soil there. So giving it some compost, yeah. So,
wow. And how long do you let that all sit together in the water before you use it?
Let me stop sharing that. They usually tell you just it's a couple of weeks is what it is, I think, to get it like good and concentrated. Yeah. But as soon as it stinks, it's good. If it stinks, if you go, do not touch that with your skin, that is going to be excellent compost tea.
That may explain where I ran into a problem, because I was trying to stir it. I tried to stir it daily, but I could only make myself do it like 3 times in like a month. But every time I opened it, like swarms of flies came, and then it started getting in my house. But I think
where is your compost?
It's not near the house.
Oh, okay.
There's like yard in between. Like basically where my house sits on 2 lots.
Right.
And the house is on one, the compost was on the other. So it wasn't close. But I think that's what I did, is I had it in there too long. It was way early.
Yeah.
Earlier, and I could have tossed that in and
so I just keep, so for me, what I do in the summers, like I'm just starting my new bin right now, and I'll just keep adding water, adding more greens. And I don't, start scratch each time. I just keep adding, as soon as I take out some juice, I just go and throw in some more water. And then as I'm weeding, throw in the weeds. And I just keep it going all summer. And actually I have let it go even through the winter. This year I did, because I was moving the bin to another location. I actually poured it into the garden, all of the stuff. But yeah, I let it keep percolating all summer long. I do know some people will use more like a 5-gallon pail, and then they'll go and get a laundry bag,
I've
and they'll
seen
almost and they'll put it inside so that you can actually take the greens out
that. Right.
and have the, but I have 5 kids just like you guys, and so everything I do is always on a large scale. Like it's like, buy the biggest turkey, buy the biggest this, buy all of the, whatever that is, buy it all. And it's like so I have it's a big bin that I have out there that I'm using. 5-gallon would just be like, well, that's a waste of my week,
Mm-hmm.
So I tried both. I tried I don't think it's in the video, because I made 2 attempts at compost tea. The first one I used a bin like that, but the bin was too flimsy. It was like a cheap generic one, and so it like bowed out, and then the lid wouldn't fit, and the whole neighborhood smelled like shit. The neighbors were not loving me. No. Okay, so question from Glamour Planner, and I don't know about the mushroom compost. Do you all know what that is? Have you all heard of the mushroom compost?
Yes, it's a product that you can get that's just composted mushrooms, But I don't think we've used it in our garden.
Very descriptive.
Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't tried it.
In a lot of places, it's the only kind of compost that you can get. Actually, if we wanted to buy compost here, it would be mushroom compost. We have an aversion to spending money on anything, so.
And you all struck the deal with the cow farmer, right?
Right, exactly. The horse farmer. Or horse.
Yeah.
And I think that may be, like, really that's what I should have done, is gotten to know the cow farmers around and the people with chickens and struck up some deals. I didn't.
Yeah, you got to know what they're treating
feeding them.
Yeah, what they're feeding them, because they could have any number of the pesticides and everything in them. So it can be problematic.
Yeah. Yeah, nice. And somebody was later in the chat. Let me find this one. You were talking about the chemical that's in some things. And,
the black cow.
And Gail got it from Black Cow, which I'm very freaked out about now, because what did I buy this year? Black Cow, because the other type that they had at Rural King I used last year, and I'm sure it had that in it. So I had used Black Cow the year before, and I didn't have any issues with it.
Can I ask what Black Cow is?
It's a type of commercial cow compost.
Manure
compost.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's already been heat treated and all the things, so it's like ready to just put on.
Yeah.
Throw some sunflowers in it and call it a day. That'll suck all the junk out of it.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I have as many compost bins, because like what I showed you, I still have on my front yard. I have another one that is a double wide pallet bin, compost bin. So there is actually 5 of the pallet wood style, or no, 2, 4. Oh yeah, 5. Wow. And that's one of the reasons why you go, I just want to make my own compost. I want to make my own soil, because it's like every year I'm just going to take it and add it into what I already have. I'm not going to the big box stores, because the one I bought, it was from the big box store. It was organic, like it's organic, made in the Lower Mainland, near in Vancouver, in the Vancouver area, and it was poison. I had 70 to 90 tomato plants. I had up-potted them into this soil, and they all died. Everything died.
Mm-hmm. That sucks.
Yeah.
Well, luckily I didn't use very much of the Black Cow, so we'll see how the little bit I used goes. And
but it takes time to build up your that composted soil. Like it's taking, each year. Now I have enough to fill all my garden beds. I do still buy some soil from a local place here, but for how long will it be okay? Because they've got the cow manure in it, and what are the pesticides that are being sprayed, next door where the cows are eating, and it just gets in, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
So it's like, make your own. It's for free.
Gardening Warrior has a valid point that if you're going to be rearranging the storage shed, you do not want to get the compost tea on you first. And Diana said, what do you all think about letting banana peels soak in water for a few days?
That's supposed to be a good thing.
Yeah, I think it's potassium and phosphorus or something.
I think so.
Or maybe it's just phosphorus. Yeah, potassium. Yeah. So, yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
depends on what your plants need, though. You know, like you don't want to put the wrong. You know, if it doesn't need amending for phosphorus or for potassium or whatever, you don't want to put it on it, right?
Yeah, and that's a little challenging. I know in a lot of localities, you can get the local extension office to come and test your soils.
Yep.
So we're going to be doing that next year. I don't know where everyone in the chat is from, if that's applicable to them. Is there a Canadian equivalent?
No.
Oh, sorry.
Really?
Well, not that I'm aware of. No.
Huh.
No, you're all on your own and you do your own thing. And I'm sure I can go buy kits. I can go buy kits and test my own soil.
And is there I know there's a fee for the kit. Is there also a fee for the test? Do you pay in addition?
I think that whatever the test that you're doing, you're just testing it with that kit and you'll see your own results. It's not something that you send in.
Oh, it's got like a litmus paper or something like that.
Yeah. Nothing I've ever seen about that. That I've ever seen where we have an extension office or something like that to help people with.
Actually, this comment reminded me, if you all have videos about composting on your channels, maybe tag me in your video about composting.
Sure.
I mean, yeah. You guys, Jason and Cari and Maureen, you can also email me or Facebook me. But the people in the audience can tag me, and I'll put those in the description box as well, because that's something. I mean, I'm still kind of at the beginning of my composting journey, and I know lots of people are trying to find different things about that. Nikki says banana peels are a source of phosphorus and potassium, good for plants' roots and good overall health. Gardening Warrior, you make me smile. Diana also uses cotton compost.
Oh, interesting.
Glamour Planner asked, what's in Black Cow? I don't remember what the name is. If somebody else does, I'm totally fine with you saying the name out loud. I don't really.
I think it's glycofol.
What is it?
Glycofol or whatever it's called. It's the generic version of Roundup. I can't remember, but anyway, it's essentially Roundup, because they do like they'll have like Roundup resistant clover in the field, and then the cow eats it, and it doesn't cause mesothelioma or whatever in the cow, but they just pass it right through them. They can't process it, so sometimes it can end up in the manure. Usually, though, that stuff has a half-life of like 2 or 3 years. So as long as it's been composted for a good period of time, it shouldn't be a problem. It's when it's contaminated with like fresh stuff that's usually when you get like, it's like when they have like recalls for lettuce or whatever. It's always grown in the same stuff. It's when that same stuff just has a little bit too young of stuff in it, right? So
yeah. That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Gardening will give you a more alone time than you wish for if you bathe in your water.
It all depends on the day.
That's funny. Here we go. Gardening Warrior spelled it out.
There you go.
Thank you. I was not going to even attempt to spell that.
Glycosulfate. Sulfate? Glycosulfate? Glycosulfate.
Hey, Kin
It's got what plants
welcome
need.
in.
It's got electrolytes.
It's got something. It's got a lot of letters. Okay, so Diva, how goes tea? Can you explain, like I'm 5, how exactly you do it? You get your bucket.
Yeah, I get a big container, the big, stiff container from the big box store, and just start throwing my greens in it, fill it up with some water, do a little bit of stirring, and then I just leave it alone. I used to do it where I would strain out, or I just take it from the side and pour it into my my watering can and then add the water. But I just went, yeah, I'm not going to do the 1 part to 10 parts. I just take my little Orville Redenbacher popcorn old containers, fill them up, a couple of them, go around pouring it, and then just go around with water. And I just do find that things just grow better. Things get healed quicker by using the poo juice.
Or
awesome.
I like it.
I'm gonna start my own.
Yeah.
You're gonna make some poo juice.
I am.
We got a bunch of stuff to pull anyway.
We
bunch
do.
of weeds and
We have a lot of
everything.
weeds to pull.
Yeah.
Is there anything to not put in it?
Not that I would be aware of personally. I have actually even thrown some leftover potatoes and stuff, but I usually stick to just greens. I will put the weeds right in there. Straw or hay, that takes a lot longer to break down in there because it's not super hot and concentrated. So sometimes I do have some straw, but it just lingers. You will find bugs. The flies will come. The bees will come. Everybody wants to come and be around the poop. The poop
if you
water.
got chickens, though, that's like an ideal situation. You have chickens, the soldier flies will come over after it. You put together a little biopod. You got endless food supply for your
Absolutely.
chickens. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
There was one, I think it was last year where I discovered it, and it was this little, I don't know how, it was a good size, but it had a rat tail on it. And it's the one for making, it's not the soldier flies, but it freaked me out because actually my first thing when I saw it, I went, is this how rats are made? That was my first thought.
It's
it was
a
like
rat seed.
That's right. Is this a rat seed? I'm like,
so
I was like, you had to have. It was like, no, Maureen, that's not how rats are made. Yeah, but this looks like it. Freaked me out, and so then I did Google, but it's for a type. It's actually for a beneficial bug that tends to look. It's made itself look like a bee. I think that's.
We call them mud flies. They like have the little nose and they stick mud in everything. Like if there's a little hole of any kind anywhere, they'll stick a little bit of mud in it and try and like close it off. I know which ones you're talking about.
I haven't heard of those.
I'm gonna just see if I can.
That little tail thing was on the other side.
Oh, this is actually called a rat-tailed maggot, I think.
Interesting.
Just disgusting. Anything to do with rats.
Garden Warrior asked if they were silver wings.
I don't know.
No, I'm just gonna see if I can see what it's.
I mean, really, any of those grubs are going to be phenomenal.
Exactly.
The nature of the soldier flies, is to fly inside of something and then find a little crevice to put their eggs, and so they can be easily coaxed to crawl out when they get to a certain point, to crawl out directly into your chicken's feed bin, you know?
Yes.
And so that's how the biopods work. They're great.
I think it was a drone fly. That's what it's called.
Drone fly.
It turns into the drone fly,
Ah.
which looks like a bee. I don't know if my little rat tail maggots turned into these drone flies. But that's when I looked at or a hoverfly. That's the other name for it.
I know, right? So. Gardening Warrior Q, I agree completely. Kin, I answered you up above just on a side before we switch answerers. I do not know what sticky nettles are. I'll have to research that because that's not a name I've heard. I've heard of stinging nettles and wood nettles, but cleavers have a million names, Ken. So I'll have to look that up and get back to you probably on the thread about that. So, Seven Kin, can you explain to me, like I was 5, how the basics of how your hot compost went? So you got the lava rocks, and then what did you end up doing with the layers? You had something, and then straw.
Yeah. So the major thing with hot compost is that you really have to like get the ratios of your carbon and your nitrogen pretty well. It's like 1 part nitrogen to 3 part carbon, but you also have to keep it watered. So it's a and then there's all this stuff, depends on what it is and what volume and blah blah blah. Mm-hmm. But you know, essentially that's kind of where it is. So we use the straw as the carbon. Mm-hmm. And then what was already you know, the manure and anything that was still green was part in that layer. And because there was already other browns that were mixed into that existing compost, we could do a pretty even layer of straw to, you know, about 4 inches of straw to 4 inches of your greens. So if you were just starting, then you'd have a 4-inch layer of browns, whatever, you know, whether it's dried leaves or cardboard, and then all your greens. So, you know, your grass clippings, you know, other stuff from your garden, coffee, even though it's brown, is a green. You know, your horse manure or your, if it were, I mean, I'm not going to use that in mine, but like for ours, our chicken manure, and then is your nitrogen, your green, and then another layer of your brown. So stacking it in that way, about 4 inches. And as you do a layer, throw some water on it, not a, you know, and you don't want it to be a sponge. You can wring out and have it drip, but you know, and that moisture allows those, my little, you know, microorganisms to do their thing. So they need that hydration, they need that air, and they need that mixture of both of those things. And they actually feed on the carbon and break that down, which then helps the nitrogen and all that stuff work together. It's pretty, it's pretty interesting.
It's complicated.
So, it is.
It's science.
So you would ask Maureen, what would you know? Which is your favorite? I mean, my favorite is definitely like throw it over there. Where do you worship with the eggs? Put them in the comp. Just throw them in there.
Yeah.
You know. So this one has been. It's a lot more like needy. You know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But it also has all extra benefits because you have a greenhouse now with no electricity really needed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it is.
You have a heated greenhouse.
Yes, a heated greenhouse.
It's providing that heat, and then it's also like the thing about hot composting as well is that it can break down in as little as 6 weeks if you got all your sciencey stuff down, which I don't. But
yeah, first year drying it, I mean,
yeah.
So we should expect 7 weeks then.
7 weeks. Although, you know, we just put in all the straw, so.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's awesome. Absolutely awesome.
That's
I'm looking
really
forward to seeing
cool.
how that, it's like, oh, I got to go stoke up the compost. I'm going to go put some more carbon in there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
give it a big stir. It's like, ugh, it is a workout.
So carbon is the one that if you have too much, you can set it on, you can start a fire, right? Like if your grass clippings, like if you bag them up and leave them sitting in a bag, they can.
It's
start a
actually the
fire,
it's
right?
nitrates. You're creating nitrates, right? The process of composting, that smell that you smell is nitrates. Like our atmosphere is 70% nitrogen, right? So it's the nitrates. And if you think of like nitric acid or nitroglycerin or any of these other combustible things, right? So it's like you can make backyard rockets out of sugar and a carbon based thing, right?
That is cool.
And so it's actually the nitrates that can catch on fire, but your carbon is going to accelerate it, right?
Okay.
Gotcha. Okay, that actually makes sense.
Yeah. That's a little bit of that chemistry, I believe they call that.
Of all of the classes that I took in my entire high school years, my chemistry grade was the lowest.
Yeah, my only use for chemistry was back when I was younger, and we won't talk about that.
Yeah. When we were younger, we thought of very different kinds of chemistry projects.
Yeah.
Probably ones that I'm glad the law did not find out about.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Oh, hey, LP. Nice to see you. So, is there anything else that people should know about the type of composts that you've talked about? We'll start with Maureen, or any other advice you have for people just starting out, other than don't get the poo-poo juice on your toesies.
Don't get it on your clothes and your hands. I do find those bleach wipes will do a pretty good job, like the Lysol
The
bleach
Clorox
wipes
ones.
just to kind of get in there, because I don't have any other just to encourage people, make your own compost soil, because then what's going into it, and it's going to feed your yard, and again it's to your climate, so it's used to the items that are coming from your yard. And with the poo-poo juice, yes, it stinks, yes, it's awful, but I know my one friend, she just said, yeah, my neighbors all hate me, but it's like, yeah, Mondays is poo-poo juice day. And sure, my neighborhood probably goes, oh, that doesn't smell very good, but it's gone by the next day or gone later that day. My neighbors up and behind me here, they come and they go and get their manure, and I'm left like for 3 or 4 days of smelling all the manure that they've, the gardeners came and put into their yard. And it's like, what is that stench? But it's healing, and it's food to feed your soil. So just to encourage people to, get out there and make compost, make your poo-poo juice. It's all good for you.
Yeah.
What about you, Jason and Cari? Any advice, things you've learned over the years to do or to not do in the compost realm?
Well, I think one thing that if you're new to composting, you want to realize that any biological matter is going to decompose, and you can do things to speed up the process. You can add this amount of your greens and browns and all of that stuff. You can get real sciencey about it, but if you've got time and you just pile stuff up, it's going to break down into soil. If you want to like accelerate it real fast, like Cari was saying, like we probably need to add some more of the nitrogen fixer to our compost pile right now, because it's already, you pick it up and you smell it and it smells like soil. It's soil, right?
Yeah.
But like, I mean, we use a composting toilet and have for what, 10 years, probably 10, 12 years. And it breaks down. And if you mix it properly with your greens and browns, it doesn't smell, and anything is going to break down and turn into soil if it's a biological matter. So it's not as difficult, and it's not as scary as people make it out to be. Like it's definitely not sourdough starter. Okay, like you don't have to worry about killing it.
No, but just to add to that, like as you're saying, Jason, is that and this kind of coincides with the sourdough, is that okay? If we push ourselves back, let's say 150 to 200 years, you were out on your farm and you were like, hey, if I just keep throwing all this stuff in, look I've made soil. You don't need to have all the fancy books. Same with the sourdough. It's like your mamas, were making sourdough bread, and they weren't like, do I have the hydration ratio and is the moon in the right format for me to make this to work? No, you learned how to feel it. Your mama taught you, what does this feel like? And so sure, I don't have someone over me going, here, that doesn't feel right, we need to add more of this, more of that. But I say it to encourage people of, your grandfather, your grandparents, they all did all this stuff without all the technology and the knowledge. They just, kept going, like you said, it takes some time. Okay, so I'm finding that this, if I add in more of this, that's accelerated it. If I just leave it alone, it will all of a sudden you're like, hey, look at it, I made soil, look at me.
Yeah,
right?
I've invented soil.
Exactly. So you don't, it's to not get hooked into that it's like I must, I have got to go and take a lesson and a degree, and it's like, no,
right,
yeah,
it's not that
just
deep.
throw your stuff in and hope for the best that it comes out, and if it doesn't work, try it again.
Yeah. I think of the many things I've said on video, and I have said a many because I'm wordy.
I
think the best thing is that you're going to learn a lot more about gardening by gardening than you will sitting in an apartment reading a book about gardening while not gardening, right?
Amen, amen.
Lifestyle. You want to learn it, just do it, and you're going to screw it up. It's okay. It's totally okay. In fact, we were watching somebody's live earlier, and they said, and he's a really good gardener, but he said, your first goal should be to make the worst garden you possibly can, right? Because you're going to learn so much from that. You're going to make every mistake. You're going to go, oh, that's why. And your second one's going to be a lot better, right?
Yep.
And so just get out and do it, or you don't have to get out and do it. Just start making a pile of all that stuff off in a corner somewhere. You're going to have soil in a little while.
That is literally what I'm doing this year. I literally have a pile.
Yeah.
Yep. That's all you need. Yep. So with the recommendations to adding bones to your compost, so I do add in some chicken bones and things like that. A couple of things you can do beforehand. If those are good, clean bones, I would recommend roasting them and then boiling them to make some bone broth. And now that's gonna pull all that collagen out for you to consume. But now your bone is actually it's already in that process of being broken down.
Nice.
Little bones.
But what I find, look like if you dehydrate them for too long, they get a creepy shade of white that they're not supposed to. But then put the timer on my dehydrator.
What I find is that if in my tower one, as the bones start coming down, if I see the bone, I just pick it up, put it back in the top. And I just keep going, and just let it go. And eventually I won't see them and to mix them. So I don't, if it doesn't compost the first time, it's just, it's just extra bulk matter that's going to go through. That's for me. And, or eggshells, again, it's a tough one to compost down. You can go ahead and grind them if you want to get that calcium putting into your soil. But I just, again, crunch them up, throw them in, and it's like, let them take that process. Like, why go and do those extra steps? I just, if I'm making bone broth, well, it's like, hey, I've got these very, very soft, boiled down bones. They're going to go nicely in my compost bin.
Oh, that's awesome.
And the calcium in bones and bone meal is a lot more bioavailable than it is in like your chicken eggs or eggs of any kind, even in ostrich eggs. But like
that's very interesting to
it's a lot more bioavailable. It'll take a year for bones to break down, where it'll take 3 years for chicken or for eggshells to break down.
Wow.
So
and Maureen, you said you don't break yours. You don't break your bones before you put them in? No. That's cool. So I was watching, I think it was Rio's Family Gardener that taught me that bone meal was a thing and how to do it. And she puts hers after she dehydrates them, like after she makes the bone broth, and then she puts them in the dehydrator for a little bit. Then she puts them in like a food processor and grinds them up and then puts them in. So that's why I have these random bones just sitting around on my table as I was going to do that. But I hate the feeling of the bones. Like if I could not touch them, that would be my best life. So if I don't need to touch them, I'm not going to touch them. So thank you, Maureen. That has made such a huge difference to my quality of life. You just, because I boil a chicken every single week. I boil it, I make broth, then I make bone broth, you make casseroles, and then the bones go out. So once a week, I'm touching this horrible thing. So thank you. I feel so much better already. That's the worst texture.
Yeah, you gotta get you some gloves, and then instead of using the blender, like get up close and personal with it, and get yourself either a mortar and pestle or a hammer and a rock. We'll do
now that could have some therapeutic value, right? There.
That's what I'm talking about. You have a rough day, go make some bone meal. You got a really rough day, you make blood meal. That's for the real bad days.
Right? I feel that some days. All right, let me see. I think we missed some comments. Coconut.
What are you drinking there? What are you drinking there, Jason?
I got me a soda pop.
Ooh, look at
soda
you.
pop.
Yeah,
what
it's
kind
an
of
occasional treat for me. It's Coca-Cola.
Mm.
Which is also really good insecticide. They actually spray all their crops in India with it. It's crazy. It keeps all kinds of bugs away. I want to keep the bugs away, so I drink Coca-Cola occasionally.
And it also cleans toilets really well, and it also will.
You want to break down those bones
your battery on your car?
Yeah, those bones that you have there. You put them in a cup of Coca-Cola. It'll be all liquid in about a week. Yeah.
I'm going to try that, right?
Yeah, go for it. It's fun. We did that in my 11th in my grade 11 science class, because people kept bringing soda pops in, and yes, I say soda pop. Okay, deal with it.
It's good.
And so the guy was like, "You want to know what that's doing to your teeth?" And he brought a bunch of chicken bones in and put it in. By the next week, they were gone.
Wow.
Yeah. It either worked or he was lying to us.
Well, I'm going to try it, and
let's get this out in the open now.
Yep. So LP agreed. Just do it. He or she. LP, are you male or female? I honestly don't know. Learning from YouTube helped me, and now I just compost.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Carla said eggshells can be broken down with vinegar. The residuals are CO2 and water.
Interesting.
That's cool.
I'm sure it's in calcium, right?
Yeah, that would have to be.
Yeah.
It would have to be.
You could probably then like boil it down and just have pure calcium or something.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, look at this. So Gardening Warrior boils the eggshells, uses the water to water her plants, then cooks them in the oven, and then crushes them in her Ninja.
Nice.
Very cool.
That's a cool way to get all the value out, getting some out now and some for later.
Yeah.
That's
like
just too much. That's too much work for me. I'm just not.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
I'm old and fragile. That's all I'm gonna say about that. So it's like I hardly even crush down my eggs. I just put them in the bucket and it's just like they crush just because the other ones are pressing. I'm that lazy. Okay, there's the honesty. I'm lazy.
That's how I do my eggs too.
Yeah.
In fact, some I crushed while I was turning it. I'm like, and
done.
Yeah. Last time that when I first started putting my eggshells out, I had them so nicely smushed and they were perfectly perfect. And every time I throw the eggshells out, they get less crushed because my motivation drops with each set.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is kind of cathartic to just like crush them like this. If I'm feeling it.
That's true. Another bad day therapy.
There's
Look at
so
this.
many of
Net
those
is inspired. Right? Gardening really does give you lots of outlets for pent up rage.
Yeah.
Throw it out there. Which is good.
Yeah.
Oh, this is interesting. Other than Netta is inspired to try the bone broth or the bone compost.
Yeah.
LP heard that Coca-Cola is a good ingredient to wash skunk off dogs.
Oh, that is cool.
What?
I'll be right back.
Very cool. Yeah, it's real useful stuff. I don't know that it should be safe for human consumption, but
I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. So I'm
Little
going
column
to
A, little column B.
Our link in the chat. If anybody has questions, you can type them in the chat box. You can ask to come up on screen. Oh, and we get to see Merlin. The true star of 7 Kin Homestead has arrived.
You coming in, Merlin? Come here. Come say hi.
James, you want to come in and see Merlin? Since he's starting? I don't know if James can hear me. He may be in the back office.
What, you're not going to jump on the chair right now? Of all times to not jump
the one
on the
time
chair?
you invite him to?
Yeah.
And
cool.
just, I'm just going to put this out there that for those of you that want to come up, you don't necessarily, you don't have to be on screen if you just want to ask your question, but also, to be wary, Janet, that whoever does come up, make sure that you
we'll see their picture.
Yeah, that you know them. Yeah.
Yes, I do not want to see anatomical demonstrations of genitalia. No,
just know that if you put them on a pile, they will decompose. So,
You are not wrong, sir. You are not wrong. Ooh.
Oh,
Kin
yeah, Gail.
volunteers at a massive garden, community garden. Look at that. 40-foot long grapevine.
Wow.
Oh, cool.
Apple tree, peach tree.
Very cool.
Wow.
Very
That's
cool.
Awesome.
James having a good old time.
Yeah, I'm not sure what provoked that, and I'm mildly afraid to ask. James?
I have henna in my hair, but I have I'm answering this one little comment. You can't be old. Yeah, so this is my month I was born. I'm born at the end of the month. And so I will be 57, I believe, on at the end of the month. So I do have henna in my hair. There is some gray, but I do the Benjamin button. I got to 35. I had 5 kids before I was 28, or I was 28 when I had the 5th one. And then I was like old and haggard. And then by the time I hit 35, I started to go backwards and get younger looking for a while. And now that I'm in my mid to late 50s, it's like, yeah, I'm starting to look old again. Like they're not IDing me anymore, which is an absolute nuisance. I will tell you that right now. People go, well, you should like it. It's like, no, because I'm walking in with my credit card and I go, hey, I just want to buy that bottle of wine. And they go, no, we need some ID. And you're like, I'm old enough to be your mother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trucker. And so I have to go back out and get my thing. So, but thank you for that very kind compliment. That was nice. Anyway, back to you, Janet.
Seven Kid, if you're wondering about what the delay is in our chat versus what people are seeing and hearing, that laugh was at James that James gave was at your comment about people who show their genitalia on my live stream.
Yeah.
Decomposing in the pile.
Yeah, yeah, it'll decompose as well. Yeah.
Yes, that's what the laugh was about.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
like
3 minutes later.
I had James come on this. I didn't even think about that. He could have been with me. I mean, in this tiny little space that's barely big enough for my butt to fit in.
You have a wee butt.
He says no. He says no.
I understand.
That's funny.
So if nobody else has any questions, I am going to put the links to your channels in the chat real quick so people can come and find you.
Oh, thank you for the birthday wishes. I appreciate that.
So, because how would they not want to come and meet both of you, like on your channels?
I'm notoriously difficult to deal with in real life, so best to do it on the channel, you know.
Yeah, because then you can mute him. You can go move along. Let me see the pretty lady.
I'm real,
lady,
right? Yeah, I'm real. Like I go ham on the editing. You know what I mean? So can't do that in real life. So.
Well, thank you very much, Janet, for sharing out our channels. We do really appreciate it. And for those of you that do come over to subscribe, I would just encourage you to watch at least one of our shorts, because what happens is that you subscribe. If you don't watch something, the algorithm goes, you weren't real, and then you
didn't really subscribe.
You didn't really want to subscribe to them. And also if you leave a comment as well, and if you do have a channel, I'm always happy to come and come and check out what you're doing as well, because I'm still learning. But anyway, so we do really appreciate the extra support from all that were in the chat. So
yeah, we sure do.
So I just felt like I needed to show you that Maureen has a new name, the Singing Chicken Whisperer. It is now her new title.
Oh, using vidIQ.
That
isn't that awesome?
That is so cute.
Yeah, I love that.
The chicken whisperer.
So cute.
So Diva, do you want to tell everyone about your channel real quick? We still have 20 people watching. Isn't that amazing? No, you are making me feel so good. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I try to do one long form video once a week. I also throw in shorts when whenever I can make them, and just put them up throughout the week. But it's, my channel again it'll be, I've done the sourdough bread, so I'll show you how I make my sourdough bread. I am working with a 173-year-old Italian starter. And it is like, I don't know. I got it from a friend who she bought it from. I don't know. It's like, hey, you want to buy a 173-year-old Italian starter? I don't know.
Yes, I do.
But that's right. But so she gave it to me, and my starter that I had was from a Shishi Poo Poo bakery here in town, and my son used to work at, and it was about 27, 28 years old. The difference in those starters, like whether this actually is 173, I noticed such a difference in the two sourdoughs. It's amazing. So I do have those kinds of things. I also do the pressure canning, where try to encourage people to do pressure canning. Right now, my goal, one of the projects I'm working on very slowly, but is to really bring out the idea of grow your own food, because we all see how flippin' expensive it is to buy fresh food. And so again, people like me, if you were like a jazz singer and a blues singer before, and then you had to stop your career, or you're just a person who goes, I can't grow a ding dang thing. It's like, I'm doing a project called Grow Your Own Food, hashtag Grow Your Own Food. It's a generic hashtag, but I'm building as if I've got a little deck space, and I want to encourage people, just even if you grow just 4 lettuces in a pot, you will give yourself lettuce through the summer. If you grow a broccoli, because that's a cut and come again, you will get to have. So that's probably one of my biggest projects right now on my channel. I think I just filmed episode 3 today. It's not edited, so you're not too far behind. But for all of you that are, if you are growers, then more power to you. But also share your knowledge with your neighbor to go. You got to grow something just to save a bit of money. Also, better nutrition. Blah 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 blah. Oh, and I have chickens, and I love making chicken baby videos. Ha!
And you have lives. Your live is
that's true.
The standard one is Saturday, right?
Saturday nights at 7:00 Pacific Standard Time.
10:00 Eastern.
Yeah, where I do my lives every Saturday.
Yeah, and Diva always has really good lives. I have been to many alive on the Diva channel.
It's never the topic that we say that we're going to set out on. It starts out in that topic for maybe, I don't know, 15 seconds, and then it just goes off the rails. And
I try really hard to keep us focused, which is challenging because how well do I focus? Ever?
No, this has been great because we have talked about compost. We've talked about poop. We've talked about decomposition.
I'm actually very proud of us.
It doesn't rhyme with Janet. So, 7 Kin Homestead, what about you? Can you tell them about your channel and the amazingness they will find there?
So our homestead is actually 100% off grid. We don't have any utility connections at all, and we spend a lot more time focusing on the off grid living part of things. Although we do, make the occasional foray into the homesteading content as well. And we've been doing it for about 12 years now. So a lot of our videos are about either off-grid living as a philosophy, like how to save money and not spend money and use things like persistence, ingenuity, and frugality to end up with all of the stuff that you want out of life. And we actually show you how. Right. And I think I think a lot of people, at least within our kind of niche of the off-grid living part, it's more like, look what I did. Right. Yeah. Whereas what we're trying to do is we're not special. We have no specific skills that are any more than yours. And you can do it too if you want to. And this is how. Right. And so that's kind of how we focus on our like mid-length videos, like 3 to 5 minutes long. And then we go like full ham on what are they called? Documentaries on certain subjects. Like we have a full-on documentary about how Merlin came to be a member of our homestead.
Which is awesome and adorable.
Yeah, it's super fun. How we solved water because we don't have a well, right? All of these different things, and we actually set it up like a documentary. We do, like true crime detective interviews on each other and all of those sorts of things. It's like, I don't know. To me, it's a lot of fun, and what else?
And you have a live every week.
Live. Oh yeah. Wednesday night, 6 o'clock. Wednesday night, 6 o'clock Pacific time, and that's always a lot of fun. I have certain graphics that will come up on screen that always get the best reactions from Cari, because They are so
Yes.
cringeworthy.
Yes, you do.
They're so cringeworthy that, yeah.
I will not comment on the cringe factor.
And very soon, I spent all day today working on a part of this, and I'm thinking very soon we're going to start our podcast. So,
Okay,
and
cool.
it'll be very different from other things, but I think it'll be cool to show, like, we have a live and people see us interacting with the audience, and then we have videos and they see me interacting usually with a camera, but nobody's ever really seen her and I interacting with each other and how we get to where we get to in our conversations and everything.
Cool.
So I think
It's
really
pretty entertaining.
It is.
I think.
Yeah. Well, I will say, like, I when I first met you guys, which I don't know why or how, but it was that one short of, where you were trying to encourage people, it's like follow us on Kin Home, and I think there was
the Dos Equis commercial, one that was
right.
like the Dos Equis commercial, yeah,
it's like and I just killed myself laughing, and then once I saw what you've been doing on the clock app, that I'm sitting there going, okay, this is what you need to do, Maureen. Are you listening? Are you listening? And the wisdom and the creativity of just how you two, film and like you record filming, the editing, the language and stuff. It's just so phenomenal. And it breaks it down where you go, again, former jazz and blues singer, can actually make sense of it and go, okay, there is some steps. But my thing is, and you can address this in one of yours, is I have a great big FEAR of stepping out, and that's the biggest thing. It's like, yes, I have equity in my home and I could, but it's that take the step.
Yeah. I actually have a video. I'm going to tag you in on that. And but I take absolutely no responsibility for you selling your house tomorrow after watching it.
I have to really give a huge shout out to both of you, but first to Jason and Cari, because you all have really, like, you've changed how we look at so much about homesteading. And before, it seemed like something that was completely like a pipe dream, something that we'd always dream about, but we'd never be able to actually do, because financially we are really not that much different than you were when you were doing the yard sale to raise the money to get your down payment. And you've really changed how we've looked at it, and also how we've looked at things. Today, after this live is over, I'm going to ask James to go out and help me cut some boards, because I need somebody to hold them, because I need something to sift the soil from my compost to get the big chunks out. And before, I would have been like, well, I guess I can use the colander from the kitchen and just never use it again. But after watching you guys make all these things out of nothing, I'm like, hey, I have this scrap wood from the neighbor's fence, and I have this scrap metal mesh from a compost system that failed. I'm going to make my own.
Oh, that's awesome.
Really great.
That is
so I really appreciate you guys helping us to think differently about using what we have to make things. And Diva, I really appreciate you making everything about the gardening process and the chickens feel workable. You make it feel like a normal average, you make it feel accessible, can go out and do it and be successful. And I really I appreciate both of your channels.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. And we just love you guys.
Yeah, and back at you.
Absolutely.
I mean, canning video, sourdough stuff. Maureen, I know when I have questions, I'm like, hey, like, what? Do you have video?
Late night little text.
Yeah, exactly. And it's been so helpful. And Janet, your video where you had the you did the jugs and you taped them up, and we talked about that in one of our lives, and I'm like, really? And I watched your video. Totally did it. And I've got like the best thing growing in my greenhouse right now is one of those that's just bursting with chamomile. And it's the happiest thing.
Yeah.
Like
Awesome.
I tried some in a pot and it's like, yeah, no, I don't like it.
She was going to grow
Like,
mint in it, but I told her I was like, no.
That would have been
Can't do
awesome.
that.
I would have felt so good to be part of your mint journey.
You are.
No, we just
You
love
are.
you guys, and you know, like when we talk about our live stream on Wednesday, like that's where the family comes together.
Right.
And,
Absolutely.
like, you know, I do a live on TikTok. There might be 30,000 people watching it. You know,
Right.
and I love that our live on YouTube is like usually the 12 of us. You know, and it's we can talk, and I can say things that I wouldn't normally say. Because
we can talk about freeze-dried Skittles.
We can talk about freeze-drying Skittles and also making our own freeze dryers because Big Freeze Dryer doesn't want us to know how simple of a process it is. You know, they're out there scheming.
Yep.
So,
That's funny.
Yes, LP, that's that, James. James Myers is the husband. So, yes.
I saw Doris in there. I got to say hi to Doris.
Oh, hi, Doris.
Yes, we all got to say hi to Doris.
Yeah.
She's like the pillar of your community.
Yeah. Been around since the beginning.
Yep.
And I do have to tell you all about something coming up tomorrow. Gonna post a link in the chat. So Bayou Sugar's been doing this super, super cool thing where she does watch parties on her channel. And she's been doing a lot about like, if I put that on, you guys can't see my eyes. That's creepy. But she does, yours are little, Maureen. Mine are huge. I can like at least see your eyebrows moving. So Bayou Sugar's been doing this series about like, do you really know what you're eating? And talking about nutrient density in the food and things like that. So tomorrow at 9 p.m., let's see, 9 p.m. Eastern, so 6 p.m. your guys' time. Wait, is that right? Okay, so it's 10 o'clock Central. Yeah. Yeah, I think you guys have a 4-hour difference between you guys in Central.
Eastern and Pacific were 3 hours. 3 hours.
3 hours.
We're living
no,
in the
maybe
future.
right.
This moment of like, wait, am I doing that right? Is it 2 hours or 4 hours different from you? But it's got to be 4. It's got to be 4. So yeah, it's at 10 o'clock, and we are watching. Hold on, she told me. Let me go back a page.
Is it tonight? LP just said, I think that's tonight,
tomorrow.
isn't it? Okay.
It's tomorrow at
David Corey with the crop is in the building.
David came to my chat. Oh my goodness.
Sorry to yell that out.
You have magnetized. You have magnetized so deeply that David Corey with crop is on this channel. What? I bow, sir, to your superior plant knowledge.
And he's going to go through with everybody and put everybody's name in.
Yep.
And he yells it, so that's why I yell his name when he comes in.
Yes. So tomorrow night on Bayou Sugar's channel, we're watching Kiss the Ground. It's a documentary on Netflix.
So good.
And I don't have Netflix, so I'm absolutely going to be there to see it. Ooh, Diva, is that? No, that's not the same time as yours because yours is Saturday.
On Saturday.
Friday.
Yeah.
I knew that. Yeah.
Oh, that Kiss the Ground is one of those mind opening documentaries. Excellent documentary. Yeah.
Awesome.
Awesome.
I'm looking forward to doing that. And she always has really insightful comments about it. She does different series. She was doing one before, and I don't know who it was by, but it was by this lady from India that talked about what modern farming methods have not only done to like the environment and the earth, but also what they've done to cultures. And rashes of suicides of farmers in India that can no longer make a living because of things that have been sprayed and things that have been put into the soil. And it was really mind blowing. So highly recommend Bayou Sugar's live tomorrow at 9.
Nice.
Very
So-
cool.
Yeah, sorry, that was like a downer. La la la, la, suicide. Back to freeze-dried Skittles and things
Yeah.
that are possible to freeze dry.
It's big
Freeze-dried
freeze dryer.
Snickers.
Yeah.
On the Netflix documentary, there's another one called Cooked
Mhm.
on Netflix. It is amazing. Amazing. It is like origins of all, like he takes earth, wind, fire, water, and each one is an episode. So there's 4 episodes, and it's like, with fire, like that was when this kind of food revolution started. Men learned how to build a fire, and then boom, they were able to cook meat, and how that changed and evolved. And there's an awesome one on sourdough and bread in general, and just the history of food on those various.
Oh, that's cool.
topics.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Like it's incredible. I'm like, I want to be a better cook and understand more. And it also got me excited again about my sourdough from watching this show. It's just like so interesting and really good.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And there's the pick me up.
We have we don't have Netflix, but we have a way to access Netflix, if you know what I mean. Not like
I
through
do
someone
know
else's.
what you mean.
There was a website and we do a thing, and yeah.
Yeah.
I have to differentiate because there are various ways to have Netflix without having Netflix, so I had to be a little more specific. So I'll have to check that out on there.
Oh, LP says, I think there's a follow-up to Kiss the Ground as well called Common Ground. Don't know if it's out yet or very soon. Oh, that's yeah, because
Check that out.
like And so with this other one with the earth, wind, and fire, it's cooked. Because I would like, my thing is, everything is fly by the seat of your pants, Maureen, and trial by fire. Don't do research.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah, but you have up in your little noggin, your thinker, is able to go, if I connect the A to the B to the C and the I've watched your videos. You got a lot going up in there. There's like mostly crickets.
I'm going to tell you a secret. It's really just 2 kids playing on a swing set. That's all that's happening up here.
Yeah. Yeah, and because it's like trying to learn how to cook in my Furno oven, the flame is not like it's in its box, that has just been, it's like, why don't I know how to cook over fire, anyway. There's all these kinds of things that I'm trying to, go, okay, how do I figure it out? My newest thing is that, okay, when it gets up to 500 degrees, open up the handle, leave it open a little bit, and then check it every 4 minutes, because it's like all of a sudden like that, the top of my bread is scorched. And and I'm selling this bread.
Like
the bottom is not cooked enough, and so but it's like, it just would have been great if I would have had some little Italian mama say, okay, if it gets so hot, then it just open at the door and
you put your hand in there.
You see, too hot.
What does it feel like? What does it feel
too
like?
hot. Too hot, burning off the hair.
You go like this. No, that's too hot.
No, it's no good. It's no good. No, so Maureen just, but it's like, that's what I want to do. It's like, how do I find people that will explain, this is what you're doing wrong, Maureen, so that you stop burning yourself inside your little Furno oven.
It's really nice when people give you the pro tips and you don't have to find them out through personal pain and agony.
That's like one of my like, because I have like 50 million ideas for videos, right? But the only thing that I'll ever like make a video is, does it pass that litmus test? Is it going to actually help somebody to not make a mistake or get there faster? Like that's what is the thing, right? And sometimes people will watch our videos and go like, how did you arrive at this concept? and it was because, well, I've been asked 50,000 times this question, and the only story I have that could relate to that was this, right? And but it comes down to like, is this thing noise that I'm adding to the already noisy environment, or is this something that is really truly going to help somebody to not have to go through all the trial and error about something, right?
Right. That's good.
I don't know how I arrived at saying that just now, but
I don't remember what the tangent was. I know there was a logical one, but I don't remember what it was now.
But that's the thing. Is it going to help? You know?
Yeah.
The pro tip thing. That's what happened. That's what triggered it when you said, I wish somebody would just give me the pro tip, you know?
Oh,
yeah. I'm not going to do what you're doing, Jason. I'm just going to still, put out my, blathering, a video of a blathering woman who's trying to be a gardener.
And some people just naturally do that. And some people just naturally give away the secrets and they don't even think about it. I have to think about it, Yeah. And that's how when I watch your videos, I'm like, oh, that's what I've been doing wrong for literally the last decade and why it has never worked for me and why I quit at doing that thing. Thank you very much, Maureen.
I feel like there's something to both the story mode where we're watching you and the condensed, like, this is what I did wrong, this is how to do it, or this is how I got to where you want to go. So there's both, because if not for the stories, like Maureen, we wouldn't know that there was a place to go.
Right.
That's
and Jason tells us how to get there, or Maureen does. So both.
Well, I just find Jason it's Uncle Jason. He's the uncle that that you go and you say, okay, so I got this plier thing and I got this thing. What can I do with it? And Uncle Jason will say, you know what? If you do this, look at this. Waha! You made something amazing just with those two things.
The MacGyver of this generation.
Exactly. Absolutely. It's like every homestead needs a Jason on it.
Oh gosh. Oh gosh, guys.
Speaking of which, Mumsy Washington has words for the 7 Kin Homestead. And Ken Brown is.
Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara.
Ken, are you the one that suggested I do a video about common mallow? I feel like you probably are. And Doris has things to say as well.
Oh, thank you.
Very, very cool to see. We were wondering if Doris was like one of your moms, because she's always got an insightful comment on everything. And we're like, wow, she really knows them really well.
So, sometimes I feel like it. But actually, Doris and I, none of us, we've actually never met in person. She's been like a huge supporter of what we do for 10 years,
Wow.
Before the boys were born, maybe
right around when Phoenix was born, actually.
I think, and she's 9.
Aww.
She'll be 10.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So we
that's
love
like
Doris.
that is like family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We love Doris. I think I designed their logo for them. I think exactly 8 years ago, because I believe it was in April that she uses for her spices company. I remember that too.
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's so cool.
We love Doris.
Yep.
Well, you all, I need to go and cut my pieces of wood to make my little thingamahopper that you all inspired.
Very nice. Very nice.
Thank you both. Well, technically all 3 of you, but I can both is in both channels. Thanks for coming. Thanks for making it. Like, I was getting nervous and I was like, you know what? I'm just up here chatting with my friends. It's fine. It's
absolutely
fine. So I really appreciate you guys coming here and taking a risk to be my first live interviews.
You did great.
Yeah, you did great. I'm so glad we did this, and anytime let us know, and we'd love to be back.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Thanks for having us. It was
you too, Maureen. Really I'd love to be on your live as well.
Yeah. Absolutely. I will do.
Hey James, did you find your raincoat? He's got his earplugs in. He'll reply if he's watching, because the comments are a few minutes behind. So Mark ran out of popcorn.
Hey, but you're still here, bud, and we appreciate that.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna go and make. That's what I'm gonna have for dinner tonight. So
all right,
make some popcorn. That's what I've been craving.
Awesome.
Nice.
Oh, James is watching now, but he never answered about the raincoat.
Right.
All right, all. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for watching, and we will see you later.
All right. We'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.